Hello. The purpose of this video is to give you a very quick overview of the procedure for changing out the base of a Centeron radar unit with a replacement base in the event that this base has been compromised or in this example has been cut. The only tools that you will need are going to be a Phillips screwdriver, a small jeweler's style screwdriver with a flat blade. You will have with your base, you will have a kit that will contain an O-ring and some lubrication. You got to make sure those are going to be used. And of course your replacement base, which you will notice has two wires in here and these tabs that hold the circuit card. Procedure is very simple. You will take your monitor and you'll locate the 3 Phillips screws at the base. I'll try to keep everything centered here. You will remove those 3 screws. Make sure they don't bounce away on you. If they do, they're hard to find. There we go. Almost. There we go. Once the 3 screws are out, carefully remove the base unit from the top. Place the top aside. When you're in there, you'll see there's the battery side, and then at the bottom you'll see, and that could be orange or black depending on the models that you've got. What you will need to do, on some units the screws are right there and you can access them directly. On others, like this one, you will need to pull the card up by bending these little tabs out so that they release the piece of the card that they are holding in. Do it carefully, and be especially careful to not put any pressure on the components that are on the board. You should touch the components as little as possible, preferably not at all. Once you get the board out, it won't come out all the way because it's still connected in here on these little guys here. That's where your jeweler's screwdriver comes into play. You just take this and you really, ooh, that one's on there really good. If you find that they are insistent on not coming out, then you may find that you will need to use maybe a pair of pliers or something and give them a little bit of a incentive to turn. Those don't need to be turned that tightly, but apparently the last person that put that on there did. You should only have to turn those screws just a turn and a half, and the connectors will slide right out. Again, make sure that you keep your board, handle it carefully, place that down. The old base you can put right in the recycle barrel. Then take your new base as such, and you will want to align the connections by helping them first to be together so that they're not pointing in different directions, and then make sure that the board goes back in so that those slide in right where they're supposed to, into the little slot provided for that. Sometimes it is a little, I'm sorry, let me make a better image here. Trying to do this and film it at the same time is a little difficult. If you find that you're having trouble getting the wires to slide into those little slots that are in there, you may have to open these up a little bit more, give yourself a little bit more space. You'll notice now that those slots are much wider in there, and again, use the upper slot, not the hole at the bottom. When you've gotten that accomplished, they will hopefully, there we go, they will slide right in. Once they have, well, once they've slid in and then you have not lost them again. There we go. Once they are firmly and properly seated in there, tighten them down. Again, we had to go a few extras on that one, so tighten them down firmly, but not so that you need pliers to do it. And then, once those are properly set, you shouldn't be able to pull the board out. There should be no looseness. Then you return the board to inside the slots on these tabs. You can get those in there, and then you wiggle it back down until the slots fit flush, and you see the card there. They shouldn't be sticking out at all like that. That would be a problem. Make sure that they are firmly put in there. And then once that is done, be sure you take your O-ring, which should be lubricated with the lithium grease or whatever they're putting in the kits now. Slide that over your card and make sure that it seats properly in the little groove all the way at the bottom there. See, you make sure it's not up like that. Make sure that it's seated properly all the way around. So now this one's a little dry because I'm just doing this quick demo for you, but it should be lubed, and so it should be very easy. Then you take your cover, and you notice that the slot on the case lines up with a slot on the board. That's where the magnet activates that little magnet switch right there. Line that up. Put it down carefully to avoid catching anything that you shouldn't be catching. Line that up nicely, and then gently just sort of rock it into place until it's all nice and flush. And then when that's done, you take your screws, return those to their proper locations, hand tighten them. And these are also another thing, you don't want to over tighten because it's possible to strip the plastic threads out on the housing, and that will also be a less than desirable thing. Put your screws back in there like that, and now you have a monitor with a theoretically new tape. And that is how you change the base on a Centeron monitor. Again, please refer to Centeron's website to be sure if you have any questions about what kind of O-rings to be using, lubes to be using, anything else like that. It's a good idea to ground yourself if there's any chance for static discharge. I'm sure there are things that I'm leaving out. So if you have questions, give us a call. But that's the procedure. It's pretty straightforward. As you can see, it takes about 4 or 5 minutes, and you can put that right back in the tank. Thanks for watching. Good luck.